Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome. Computer was struggling at the start. Had to reset OBS. I was going to bring up the time data, but there's too much. Too much for the PC to handle at the moment. Seems to have a problem doing the simplest things since I installed NBN. It helps in so many ways, but it's a pain in the ass in many more. Alright, get your votes in. I'm gonna go put some food in the oven. And I have, if you just want to watch the race and you don't have a link, I have it linked at the top, tabbed. Oh. Good old Jackie. I love Jackie Stewart so much. Alright, I'm going to see if I can bring up the data. Oh, that is the wrong fucking thing. You idiot. So what? Italian Grand Prix, Italian's fucking national anthem's epic. Guy's going off. Going off, mate. They're loving it. Put it here to there. Yeah, that works.
Snap on the way out. Now Oscar's in the slipstream here. He's got a great toe coming all the way around the Curva Grande. Lando's fully aware that he's there. Covers the inside line. Oscar goes for the outside. If we just slow it down here, you see Oscar is momentarily in front. And at this point, Lando's in a tricky position because he's aware Oscar's not going to back out of this fight. So he's got to then slow down. There, now look, he gets a snap of oversteer. That costs him a whole heap of momentum. Piastri now takes the lead. But that snap of oversteer and the lost momentum allows Charles Leclerc and the Ferrari to get a run on Norris and get past into Lesmo 1. So the battle on the opening lap isn't just about the first chicane. We've got to watch out how it goes all the way up to the Lesmos.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. How much would Lando like to do that to Max today?
Exactly, he can get his revenge after last year. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with the tyres. I think there will be a few people going aggressive to put a soft tyre on to make the most of that lap one and the start. Others will think maybe long game with the medium or the hard.
Oscar Piastri looking very cool, calm and collected there. Nothing seems to faze that guy, does it?
No, I can confirm that. I just spoke to him. He's just so relaxed, so composed. And that's why he's leading the World Championship. That is his greatest strength. That mental state is phenomenal. It's such a strength.
Well, it was Max Verstappen who put it on pole, though. The car we're standing right next to right now. Let's hear from him. He's with Rachel.
It's a fantastic lap yesterday, and the pace actually looks pretty good in your car. If you get away at the start, can you control this?
Friday was all right, yeah. I know, of course, that McLaren normally steps it up in the race compared to qualifying, so that will be a tough battle, but we just need to focus on ourselves, try to do the best we can, you know, keep the tyres alive, and then we'll see where we end up.
What would it mean to you and the team to win this one today?
Yeah, I mean, we always want to win. That's always the target.
It's pretty late.
Of course, today that is our target, but let's see how realistic that is.
Thank you. Go.
Okay, well, the crowd expects. What can they look forward to in this race, Jamie? Will we be able to see a result from one of their drivers? Kimi Antonelli, obviously an Italian driver, doesn't drive for Ferrari, but they'd love to see a great result from him, wouldn't they?
Exactly, never say never. I mean, this place is always going to conjure up something special, and we've seen that in so many years gone past. So never say never. There's some extra energy they're going to have here, so hopefully they can use that.
And Nico Gabriel Bortoleto there, starting a career best 7th for Sauber. And it's testament to the trajectory of this team that he was actually a little bit disappointed with that qualifying yesterday.
Yeah, ever since Mattia Binotto joined that team, it's been on an upward trajectory. I think he brought a couple of secrets along there, maybe. So that's really positive to see and reassuring for next year when Audi's coming in. I wonder what they're doing there with Lando's
mouthwash, actually. It's like menthol mouthwash. It gives your sensation, or your body the sensation of feeling cold. It's very weird, but if it tricks your brain into feeling cooler, then it works.
So I used to put Tiger Balm on my whole body, but it's pretty extreme because you're like actually shivering. It's so cold, although it's like roasting hot, but I guess it's a good technique.
Wow, you drivers are interesting characters, aren't you? Okay, on the way next, we have got the Italian Grand Prix.
Audi sponsors Formula One on Sky Sports.
Just what you want to be. Nights in white satin. And I love you. Yes, I love you. Yes, I love
Bleu de Chanel exclusif, the new fragrance.
Oh, so you corporate types think you're rock stars?
That's as ridiculous as us, being corporate types.
Let's begin. Rockstar move using Workday to handle all our AI agents.
Well, watch me handle my agent, Gary. Bubbly water, no bubbles.
So what did you do this weekend?
The huge.
Shout out to Carmen for using Workday to manage our people and AI agents.
What are we doing?
Just clap.
Carmen!
Yakult Balance, packed with friendly bacteria and contains vitamin D to support immunity and muscle and bone health. Little bottle, big difference.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it.
Hey, there we go.
Move it, move it. You like to move it. Physically fit, physically fit, physically. Come on. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
Here we go, guys.
Take your F1 experience to the next level and ride on board exclusively with Sky Q, Sky Stream and Sky Glass. Now it also gives you full access to every driver's onboard feed. Jump into the cockpit of any of the 20 drivers during practice, qualifying, sprints and race sessions, and tune in to their team radio.
Nice job. Let's go get Oscar.
Hit the interactive button on your Sky remote to explore a range of thrilling onboard views, from gyro cams and visor cams that put you right in the heart of the action. Plus, don't miss Sky's Battle Channel, showcasing unmissable side-by-side action you won't always see on the main broadcast. Out and about, stay in the race wherever you go. Scan the QR code to
get onto
download the Sky
Discord
Sports
or
app,
fucking
choose your driver and
PlayStation or
experience
something.
the action live.
Spaghetti.
Strap in and enjoy every twist
You want to
and
get
turn.
in the commentary
Only
box
on
one day,
Sky
mate?
Sports F1. Well, guiding you through all the action in the pit lane is Ted Kravitz and race control Karun Chandok. And then up in commentary, we've got David Croft and Martin Brundle. So Max is on pole, the 45th of his career. Lando is alongside him on the front row with championship leader Oscar Piastri in third. The scene is set, a drama of daring and a crescendo of courage. It's time now for the Italian Grand Prix.
Mate,
As you're
the
driving
Italian
into the
Grand
track,
Prix
on the one hand, you're feeling this
provided
atmosphere,
so much
the history of this
entertainment in the
racetrack,
last-
and
like
that it's
since
such a
COVID.
huge day ahead. You just see a sea of red Ferrari fans.
Fuck, I'd love to go. Of
As soon
all
as they
the
see you driving by, they start knocking on the windows, and
international
you're really trying to
races, I
focus.
reckon.
You try to switch off everything, all the distractions.
Monza or Le Mans. Oh, look at that.
Monza is so fast. And it's so challenging. Bumps, big braking, hitting those curbs in the chicane, fast corners. It is an incredible challenge.
Best track.
Being a Ferrari driver and
Those
racing
who
in
say
Monza,
Monza's boring.
loaded with responsibility because you feel that you're racing for the entire country.
Okay.
I'm so grateful that I got to experience what it's like to win here in this historic place and to stand on that podium, which is one of the most spectacular podiums of the whole year. The person who gets to stand on the top step or should really just take in all that history.
Yeah,
Even
mate.
if you're
And
not in
Danny,
Ferrari.
a couple of years back.
It's just an incredible moment.
Nico's a boss, mate. I love Nico. We need more Nico. We need Nico to interview Jos Verstappen in every race. Copyrighted. Yeah, Gasly. Alpine have got gassed up till 2028. Yeah, 28. He's got like 3 more years. It's mad. 3 guaranteed years. They love Pierre, mate. He did, bro. He did the fastest lap of all
Welcome
time
everybody
around
then
Monza.
to the
so-
Italian Grand Prix here at
Fair
Monza,
effort.
the track that staged more Grand Prix in the history of the World Championship than any other circuit. This is the 75th Italian Grand Prix in that World Championship to take place here
Oh, yeah,
at the Royal
let's
Park,
fucking-
in which is the 75th year of
So
the
if him and
Formula One
Lando come
title
together.
parade. Here's the 3.6 miles, and glorious it is too. Top speeds with DRS in qualifying of 230 miles
I
an
like that
hour.
they still
2
show the
DRS
outline
zones
of
to
the
help
whole track. That's
overtaking.
mad.
In the last 2 years here, we've had 5 different leaders and 5 lead changes. And none of the previous 5 pole sitters have gone on to win here at Monza. The tyres today, the soft might be a bit too soft,
None of
but if
the
you fancy an
previous
aggressive
pole
start,
sitters.
C5 is
5
one for you.
previous pole sitters
C4,
have gone
the
on to
medium tyre, the favourite race tyre, and C3, the hard tyre, which will come into play. And it's a glorious day here too. Track temperature, 44 degrees the air temperature, hovering around 27 degrees. The
Very
sun
warm.
has been out and it's baking our starting grid. There are 18 cars on it because 2 start from the pit lane. Pierre Gasly's got a new power unit, as has Isaac Hadjar, who was out in Q1 for the first time in his career. In the last 3 races before this, the Racing Bulls had all reached Q3, but they were both out in Q1. Lawson 18th, and he's alongside Colapinto in 17th. Lance Stroll starts 16th, 11 Q1 knockouts for him this season. Esteban Ocon down in 15th, where he started last year. Two Williams drivers side by side and level at
Lance
8
Stroll
all
even looks
in the
spastic in his
inter-team
photos.
qualifying
He's
battle.
like-
Albon and Sainz. Hulkenberg starts 12th, his highest start since Canada. Ollie Behrman starts 11th, and he's equalled his Haas battle with Esteban Ocon at 8-all as well. Lewis Hamilton starts 10th with a 5-place grid penalty. He's alongside Yuki Tsunoda, top 10 here for the first time ever. Fernando Alonso starts 8th, his highest start here in 3 years, and he's alongside
And then look at
Gabriel
his fucking
Bortoleto from his
teammate.
management
Pimp.
stable. It's the two Mercedes level on the third row of the grid. Antonelli, his highest start since Canada, alongside George Russell, who's 5th. Charles Leclerc won here from 4th last year. He's got the championship leader Oscar Piastri alongside him, and the front row is the same as it was in Miami. It's Lando Norris who starts 2nd, and Max Verstappen with the fastest lap ever to take pole yesterday. It was a magnificent effort from Max Verstappen. And the thing is, Martin Brundle, when you walk around the paddock, nobody will be surprised if he can't go on and win the race as well.
He certainly got some pace in the longer runs on Friday too. Ferrari's decided not to do anything different for Lewis Hamilton down in 10th. So the top 13 start on the medium compound tyre. That's the sort of rational one-stopper medium hard compound. Only one driver out there in 18th, Liam Lawson, on the soft compound tyre. But so pretty much a consensus then in the front of the grid as we look at the World Championship leader, calmly waiting for the next part of this process. They get pretty used to it these days. It's the 4th longest run down to the first corner, but it's very tight when you get down there. And your rear tyres are quite warm because they've transmitted 1,000 horsepower all the way down there. Your front tyres less so. You've got full tanks of fuel, and you've got to pick a braking point. Brake too early, somebody will run into you. Brake too late, you'll run into somebody else. You've got to get that absolutely right. You don't want to square off your tyres before you've even got round the first corner. So it's always a tense moment for the drivers and the pit wall.
Max Verstappen.
Not now, mate. My stream just shit herself. Come on, mate. Yeah, fully, my stream just shit itself. Is the VPN doing something? Yeah, of course it is. Come on, mate. Yeah, I've just lost my stream. Come on, fucking. Why is it always something like this, bro? Every fucking time you start something. VPN's connected, bro. Why are you being a cunt? This could be out the window already. It's not my internet. It's not the PC. Still streaming. If this website's been shut down, it's one Abject gave me, bro. I'm fucked if the website's been shut down. Well, race has started. Fucking GG. What's going on? Yeah, bruh, this like website has just stopped working. Oh. Come on, get back in, mate. No. I don't think this shit's going to work for me, guys. Like, in terms of me trying to do this type of thing. If it's not the PC, it's the fucking internet. And if it's not the internet, it's streaming services. I had the same problem, like, when I was paying for KO. The moment the race would start, the KO would fuck up. Be buffering the whole fucking time. Now I'm trying to do it without paying. And the thing I always remember with these websites is that you constantly need to be fucking getting a new one. Alright, it's loading again. Fucking hell, mate. Thank you. Go away. Show me the race. Fucking fail, mate.
What's this idiot doing? Come on. He's put me in the grass and he's just got the call.
And the concern about that is any aerodynamic damage, but also
who's
grass
Lando calling an idiot?
radiator duct. These cars are only cooled
Max
by passing
or Oscar?
through the air.
Kimi Antonelli's had a bad start. He's down at a 10th. Hamilton is up to 9th. Sonoda 8th. Alonso 7th. And Bortoletto 6th. Race controls noted that incident between Verstappen and Norris. Verstappen's being told to give back the position. Where's he going to do that as he crosses the line?
So something really happened between them
Lando
then.
Norris. Piastri ahead of Charles Leclerc. That's where the position is then given back. Lando Norris now leads the Italian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc is getting involved once again. Down the inside goes Oscar Piastri. Charles Leclerc, brilliant switcheroo down in that chicane. And I think he's going to get past Oscar Piastri. What a battle these two are giving him through the Curva Grande. The Ferrari's up to 3rd place.
Superb driving all around. Piastri taking some gambles, it must be said, and trying to go down the outside again.
Oscar is
Max
getting...
let that position go in just the right place so that they could squabble behind him, and he maintained 2nd. So DRS will now be enabled.
And the stewards happy. No further investigation for Max Verstappen. Stroll is now down into 19th place, and Lando Norris is charging away. Piastri still on the tail of Charles Leclerc. George Russell's on the tail of Piastri.
Now let me clarify that. There's no further investigation because he's given the place back, not because they think he didn't do anything wrong, and then Verstappen has just given the place up unnecessarily.
Man, Leclerc's all over the place on the braking. Had to avoid him.
I think that was going into the 2nd chicane where Oscar had to back out a little bit, almost lost a bit of front wing end plate, and he's going to pick up a really good slipstream going down the main straight here if he can hang on to the Ferrari through the Parabolica, which he seems to be doing quite well. Out in front, 7/10 a gap between Norris and Verstappen, and then Leclerc a little bit further back under pressure from Piastri. Then comes Russell. Bortoletto runs in 6th. Then Alonso. Hamilton in 8th is ahead now of Sonoda. Into that first corner we go, and there's a look up there. Charles Leclerc is under pressure once again and survives this time.
Oscar's
the championship leaders' front wing and front wheels and tyres have been in perilously close company with some other cars, and that then is Bortoletto steaming down towards the 2nd chicane.
Bortoletto having a go on George Russell, and Bortoletto for one moment thinking he was going to get past, but nothing doing. Russell maintains that 5th place.
Dream ticket for Norris out front. He can run in clean air. That's why he'll be desperate to stay in front of Verstappen. Verstappen, of course, is within the 1 second zone, so gets the rear wing open. Gains about 7 or 8 kilometers per hour, 5 miles an hour. The Red Bull's quick in a straight line as well, but the Ferrari is the quickest car in a straight line.
25 points for a win, 12 points for 4th. I said Oscar Piastri wouldn't be too bothered if he lost 3 points to his championship rival. 13 points, that's another matter. He's got some work to do to maintain that gap he's got out in front of the table.
And Verstappen was close going into Alboreto corner, as it's now called, Parabolica. and very close indeed. He'll get the rear wing open. He's got a chance on the brakes down into the first chicane.
It's only worth about 10 kilometres an hour of extra speed, and the Red Bull is the DRS, but it's working to great effect there. Verstappen under braking, gets it slowed down. Norris locks up. Verstappen, though, keeps it on the road, and he gets the race lead back again. So here on lap 4, Max Verstappen, who had to give a place back at the start to Lando Norris, now gets it back and takes the lead and charges onwards towards the 2 Lesmo corners.
And that's, if you saw our DRS feature early on, that's what it's all about. Bring cars into play. Now you will have seen Charles Leclerc cut across where Max Verstappen cut across, but because he's then backed himself up and not had what they call a lasting advantage, he will not take a penalty for that.
So I mentioned Hamilton had got ahead of Tsunoda.
He needs to give that back. He went to defend and went long.
Yeah, we saw.
Oscar sees it a different way.
And we're on board with Oscar now towards the Ascari chicane. I said that Hamilton ahead of Tsunoda, and the race controllers noted potentially Lewis Hamilton for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. That hasn't gone to the stewards yet. We got the speedometer on Oscar Piastri here as towards 200 miles an hour. On that back straight we go, and then hurtle into the parabolica and scrubbing off round about 70 miles an hour when they make their entry.
Yeah, at peak lateral loads there, you could see Piastri having to just correct the car in the turbulent air. Will he have a run down the inside of the Ferrari this time?
It's only about 7 kilometres an hour of DRS advantage for the McLaren. That's not enough to get alongside the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, but further back, there is Lewis Hamilton on Fernando Alonso. Really neat move from him, and he's up into 7th place after starting 10th in this race.
This is really bringing Lewis Hamilton back into play in this Grand Prix, and they were right not to try something different for the sake of it. Here's the start. Everybody got away pretty well, and you can see Norris up front on the right-hand side got away especially well. Gets a little shove onto the grass, but that's just because they ran out of tarmac there, to be honest. And this is where Verstappen effectively couldn't make the corner, maintained the lead. Others went through there as well, Tsunoda too. So as has been noted, and that is why I think quite rightly Red Bull said give that place back.
Yep, so Max Verstappen having to give the place back. This is the battle that continued on towards that second chicane. I think Bortoletto also went into the runoff area in the Sauber at the start. We can see what everything looked like from behind the Red Bull now. The rear wing of Max Verstappen's pole-sitting car. That's Lando Norris alongside him, Oscar Piastri looking to find a way through.
You let the brakes go, mate.
Yeah.
So Max sees it that Lando kind of forced his momentum onto the gravel.
Well, Lando and Piastri then with an even better chance on the Ferrari this time if he's laid on the brakes.
Oh, this is going to be tight. This is going to be really tight. And Piastri is late enough on the brakes to squeeze his way through and up into 3rd.
Super smart from Piastri. Left loads of space for the Ferrari on the inside so they didn't get spun around. Really,
yeah, Max is looking good.
His 2 moves so far on Leclerc, and vice versa actually for Leclerc, have been top draws.
What's going on, Andres? How are you, bro?
But yeah, but the Ferrari's fundamentally fast in a straight line, but if they've not got track position, then it's going to hurt them. That helps Piastri's championship position nicely and track position very nicely indeed.
Certainly does. Who says you can't overtake at Monza? Who says it's impossible to overtake at the Temple of Speed? We've seen so many moves in these opening 6 laps here, and out in front, Max Verstappen by just over 1.5 seconds at the end of lap 5 from Lando Norris. That gap now 1.8 seconds.
So Lando Norris didn't get pushed on the grass. Basically, it went from 3 lanes to 2. Tarmac turned into grass. And Lando Norris is entirely entitled to carry speed into the first corner. He made the corner, he made the apex, he didn't run into anything. So I don't think either driver have a proper beef there.
Lap 7 of 53 here. Has the Ferrari got the speed to come back at Oscar Piastri again? I tell you what, the other Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton's got some speed on Gabriel Bortoletto. That's another move from Lewis Hamilton. Started 10th, and he's now up into 6th place. George Russell, his former teammate, is the one ahead, and that's Tsunoda and Hamilton incident. No further investigation by the stewards, so both drivers clean to race.
And
smashing Dead Island
into a 2-second lead, pulls himself out of the DRS detection
other
zone
things here and there,
and gives him a
got
nice comfortable breather up front. Also gives Norris a little bit of fresh air for his car and his tyres.
Certainly does, and I think cooling down the tyres in these early stages with a full load of fuel on board these cars might be the order of the day, and then we'll see if the drivers can keep enough performance in those tyres to make some gains, make some moves towards the end of a stint in what is meant to be a one-stop race. Leclerc still in DRS range of Oscar Piastri, but not by much.
Lewis Hamilton's got a good race car underneath him. He's now just got one. He's got one car, two cars between him and Leclerc, and he's moving forward nicely.
Behind him, Bortoletto. Behind him, Alonso. And Fernando Alonso, by the way, and his teammate Lance Stroll will be investigated after this race for their practice starts that they did before the laps towards the grid. There is a box on the right-hand side you are meant to start from, and it could be that the Aston Martins weren't starting from there. So that will be investigated after the race, and we'll keep you posted as to what happens.
And Leclerc was showing just inside DRS. You can see at the top of your screen, now it's popped out, but he didn't have it open down the pit straight, so at the critical detection point. So he's now starting to come under pressure from George Russell. Is Charles Leclerc as Piastri just starts to edge down the road.
Stewards are looking at Ocon and Stroll for forcing another driver off the track. That is being investigated. Ocon up into 14th from 15th on the grid. And Lance Stroll down in 16th currently. Liam Lawson on the soft tyres has made up places to 15th. Hadjar and Gasly, who started from the pit lane, still right by the back. And George Russell, who started 5th in the last two races, still running in the top 5 currently, and gaining on Charles Leclerc as we watch now Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bulls. Making a move on Franco Colapinto, well, trying to, but then realising, as you were saying, Martin, it goes from 3 lanes into 2, and there was no room to get past. Ted Kravitz was saying just how tight it was down there when he was in the Valhalla riding with Fernando Alonso on Thursday for the dream ride of his life. Now, the Valhalla was quick down the main straight, but how quick is the Mercedes with George Russell? So he's in DRS range, and I said he's catching Charles Leclerc. The Ferrari is good in a straight line. Leclerc hasn't got DRS. George Russell has, and it's not enough to get him alongside into that braking zone.
Yeah, they're only 2 or 3 miles an hour faster, the Ferraris, than the rest of the pack. They've trimmed their wing level and drag level down a bit. But it showed up there, didn't it? I'd imagine George getting a lot closer than that. Than he actually was able to do so.
Meanwhile, Kimi Antonelli gaining on Yuki Tsunoda in the DRS range 2. And there's a bit of a DRS train behind him as he accelerates Behrman and Sainz and Albon and Ocon and Lawson with him and along the way. And talking of Esteban Ocon, he's got a 5-second penalty for forcing another driver off the track. So when he comes in for his pit stop, he'll remain motionless for 5 seconds before they do any work on his car, and he'll have to serve that.
That's going to hurt him around here. And so if you're wondering why McLaren is not dominant like it has been in recent times, their car works particularly well in 200 km per hour, 140 mile an hour corners, and there aren't any around here, basically. This is all about straight line speed, and this is about efficiency and downforce, while efficiency and downforce in the low downforce settings were trimmed out, as it were. And the McLaren
absolutely flying.
on it, but remember how good George Russell was in qualifying on the medium compound tyre, such that he wanted them for the final part of qualifying as well, and didn't get them. But so I think Russell's got a really nice setup there, especially for this phase of the race.
Now, why you're asking is Esteban Ocon got a penalty. So into the second chicane we go, and there's Lance Stroll on the grass, and that is why not enough space was left for 2 cars to remain on the asphalt, and Esteban Ocon picks up the penalty for that. And Verstappen's lead now over 3 seconds, the gap to him and Lando Norris. And then there's a further gap of about 4 seconds, just over, back to Oscar Piastri. Then comes Charles Leclerc, 2 seconds behind him. And George Russell, who is on the charge once more. Lewis Hamilton trying to gain on George Russell. Last lap was about 2/10 faster than his former teammate. Then comes Bortoletto, Alonso, Tsunoda and Antonelli in the final point scoring position.
Sort of feels a bit like the old days with Verstappen just walking away at the front there with a lot of comfortable speed. But George Russell right now is probably ruining the extra bit of downforce he's carrying on the Mercedes.
And was it 6-7 laps in the last 6 Grand Prix before today? Max Verstappen had led. He's more than doubled his tally here, despite having to concede that lead after the shenanigans at the first corner, and then pinching it back again with a very neat move. Piastri, who was battling away with Charles Leclerc in the early stages, now seems to have cleared the Ferrari and is running that kind of lonely-ish race in third currently, and his teammate up in second, scoring, as it stands, three more points than him. So the top 3 on the grid are running 1, 2, 3 as it stands. In fact, the top 5 are running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can head down to the pit lane at 10.
Yeah, so just looking down to the McLaren pit wall, they're kind of looking at Max Verstappen's lap times. Every lap quicker than Lando Norris. So Max building the gap, and there's nothing really McLaren can respond with. They're telling Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, we think plan A. So they're just sticking with the first choice of what they're going to do on the stops. Probably stretch it to 22, maybe try and undercut. But with a 3-second gap and building for Verstappen, Verstappen's got all that covered, hasn't he, Crofton?
He certainly has. It was a McLaren 2-3 here last year, if you remember. Oscar Piastri ahead of Lando Norris. It was the second time in 2024 that both McLarens have been on the podium at that stage. So far, 11 times this year in 2025.
Another advantage McLaren have had this season is they look after their tyres a lot better. But this tarmac, this new surface has matured quite a bit. It's not ripping the tyre, they're not graining up. The Pirelli have changed and improved the tyres as well. So it's not about degradation. The tyres are not falling apart. So that advantage of McLaren has been taken away too.
We got 19 cars running in this race. Nico Hülkenberg sadly having to retire before the start. Jonathan Wheatley, his team boss, is on the pit wall for us. Jonathan, what was the issue?
Yeah, it's always sad to have to retire a car at any point in the race. We had a hydraulic issue, don't quite understand it yet, but with a new power unit, it was probably the best thing to do.
When did that show itself, Jonathan?
Actually, the final fire up on the grid, Martin. So you probably saw a bit of activity around the car at around the 7-minute mark. Yeah, we did what we could on the grid, but these cars are incredibly complicated. Most of these systems are buried deep inside them, so unfortunately, yeah, Nico's race had to be ended.
Gabriel Bortoletto running in the top 7. What's his race pace looking like, and are you happy with it?
Yeah, we're having all the right conversations about managing tyres, just settling down. Obviously, Lawson pulled the pin, so we're expecting a few other cars to start boxing soon. Yeah, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Certainly is, but hopefully a productive one. Thanks ever so much, Jonathan. The rookie drivers being headed by Gabriel Bortoletto on the track currently. And we mentioned Liam Lawson there. He did pit to get rid of those soft tyres. They lasted precisely 10 laps. And that was that for the soft tyre. So that'll give you an indication as to whether anyone's going to use the soft tyres a little bit later on.
I think they'll only use those if there's a later.
Every time you look at the Aston Martin,
because they want some grip.
It's like, well, look where the other one is.
It's a medium and hard compound.
That's just a lot about
probably
them.
should have been a step softer here, shouldn't we,
Haas,
to force a 2-stopper.
Middle of the field, Williams,
Hopefully they'll
middle
change
of the field
that for next year.
Well, Lewis Hamilton was saying that. We've got the C6 now, so let's use it. Pirelli as they celebrate 500 Grand Prix, which came in at Zandvoort last weekend.
Or the
Maybe
Ferraris
a bit
full
concerned
stop
about
the
top
the Sauber's
speeds
got a Ferrari
here at
engine in it.
Monza, but these tyres look fairly durable. I'm sure the C6 will be as well.
Looking at the Bortoletto 7/10 ahead of Alonso. Alonso's in his Bortoletto's management team. They're best friends. I joked on the grid with Bortoletto because I was walking down to go to the grid, and 2 crazy blokes came along on scooters trying to run each other into the Ferrari motorhome. It was Bortoletto and Alonso larking around. And yeah, but there's the dynamic. You've got your manager But you probably hero worshipped him all through your childhood. You've got your manager behind you. I love the dynamics of that.
It's fabulous. Great relationship there. Bortoletto's relationship with Verstappen as well, where they race against each other in the sim world. I think they were also playing Call of Duty earlier this week together online too. There's a few places between them on the track and around about 18.5 seconds currently. But let's see how that pans out for the rest of the race. Ted, down to you.
Well, Martin, was Bortoletto also saying all aboard and doing a choo-choo, because he is very much heading the DRS train. And just looking into the Mercedes garage, they're thinking about whether they can do anything with Kimi Antonelli. Got a bad start, dropped 4 places. Now P10 with Tsunoda as well, and Fernando Alonso for that point, and Behrman and Sainz and Albon behind the Bortoletto DRS train. And I think Mercedes are going to think maybe of an early stop for Antonelli, see what they can do about that.
Yep. Quite impressed as well as to how George Russell is still managing to run as close to Charles Leclerc. I mean, he's dropping back a little bit, but he's been behind that Ferrari now for many laps. So the temperatures on the tyres, as he just moves to one side to get a bit of cooler air going through that Mercedes, the temperatures will soon start to go through the roof.
Just imagine Ted handing out tickets for the DRS train in the paddock.
He'd love that. Yeah. He'd be like an old inspector, you know, that they used to punch your tickets and punch a hole in it. With his little peaked cap as well. Oh, I can see that myself.
Coming to a notebook near you soon.
Out in front, Martin, who we can't see at the moment is Max Verstappen, which is a shame, really, because he is absolutely dominating this race and controlling it well. And the gap now over 4 seconds to Lando Norris.
He's pretty consistently 3 to 4 tenths faster than Norris. Norris has just done the fastest middle sector of the entire Grand Prix. Of course, they're starting now to use up a little bit of their fuel. And with this low deg, as we like to impress ourselves with, degradation of the tyres, often using up fuel makes you go faster than the time you lose as your tyres go off. So that's always been the case here in Monza. If I remember back to the days where sometimes we'd do 50, 60 laps, approaching 50 laps, sometimes pitting on the last lap, actually, didn't it? To go as far as you could on one set of tyres because you don't really hurt them in the straights.
This is good, nice and clean.
Stay in contention. Hard tyres to come between laps 25 and 30 maybe, but we'll see if anyone does pull the pin and start to pit from further behind. The trouble with trying to make an undercut work, pitting ahead of the driver in front and hoping that on fresh tyres you've got the pace to get past them when they finally make a pit stop, is that when you go from the medium onto the hard tyre here, the hard tyre takes a little bit longer to warm up and you can't just go and push straight away.
Lando Norris saying, my front left is the limiting factor for going faster. It's a clockwise circuit and most of the key corners are right-handers. So that is why your front left gets a little bit of stress. What I think is going to be very interesting is when they go on to the hard compound tyres, just over half distance probably, or around half distance, as to whether that moves the dynamics of this Grand Prix, whether it changes who's got the advantage.
Which it often can do.
It's been a pretty typical Monza race so far.
Of this race. Lando Norris crosses the line, 4.3 seconds behind him. George Russell has now,
besides a few sketchy moments,
detached himself from that magic 1 second. He's not in DRS range of Charles Leclerc, and I wonder if that then helps Lewis Hamilton a little bit. Lap previous to this, lap 15, he was 3/10 quicker than Russell. Now he's 1/10 quicker than Russell. Does that help Lewis Hamilton, I wonder, just to close that gap a little bit faster now that Russell's not getting the DRS benefit behind Charles Leclerc? We'll see. Karun at Sky Race Control.
Good afternoon, Crofty. Just listening in to some of the radio here, Verstappen is completely in control. All the feedback he's giving is car's good, pace is good, tyres are good. So he's checked out 4.5 seconds with Deja Vu 2023. Just looking at what Russell can do. So we think that the undercut here is not as powerful as in Holland or in Hungary before that. He needs to be within about a second. Now there's a gap, as Leclerc has gone 11 in the gravel at the second Lesmo. There's a gap, it's about 25 seconds for pit stop. There's a small gap right at the back of the field between Lawson and Gasly, where Russell can't slot into, but then he'll quickly get caught with people. The problem for any of the top runners is that the field is still quite tightly bunched. And you can't pit too early or you'll get stuck in traffic.
And you don't want to get stuck, Martin, behind the likes of Alex Albon, for instance, on the hard tyre, leading a gaggle of cars on the hard tyre behind him, who are going to go that little bit longer.
Absolutely. So they're watching that a long way behind them. Message from Christian Horner here actually saying this was our worst race last year with the wrong downforce level and how hard the team have worked on that package and done a great job.
Fair play,
they've turned it around.
38 seconds, I think, Max Verstappen finished behind the race leader and race winner, Charles Leclerc. Is down the inside, goes Kimi Antonelli on Yuki Tsunoda. And he's got one place back with the 4 that he lost at the start there. Neat little move there from the man from Bologna. He moves up into 9th.
It looks like Carlos Sainz has been down running through the runoff area without going around the necessary bollard and following the yellow lines. He's been reported for failing to follow race director's instructions on the runoff zone.
Yeah, there's a specific line you have to take, and even if you can't get to the right of the yellow line at the start of that particular corner, you still need to come on later into the runoff area. Let's see what happened. Lock up there, and he's going to come on before the yellow line. You can see it just on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, that'll take some defending, Carlos. Take a lot of defending, unfortunately. And there's a reason for it. It's so that the cars feed back in a controlled way, at a controlled angle. Lando there playing a risky game because that can damage the underneath. The brings gravel onto the track. Yeah. The gravel can damage the aero parts underneath. It can pepper those as well. That's for all the cars, of course, who go through it.
Ollie Behrman's coming into the pits to try the undercut from 11th. It was mentioned to us by Ferrari, actually. Just watch out for the gravel. If enough of it comes onto the circuit, that might necessitate a virtual safety car or a safety car for the marshals to come and sweep it. So Behrman comes into the pits, and he should, I would imagine, get out ahead of Liam Lawson. They've decided down at Haas that that's the gap that they're trying to put him into, but that's not quite happened. Lawson's actually gone through. You do lose a lot of time here, 25 seconds in your pit stop because of the speeds that the cars are doing down the straight while you're stuck and controlled at 80 kilometres an hour.
Max just walking it in this
phase.
Now. Yeah.
It's a solid Max. Keep building the advantage. We know how things can change, so keep eking out that advantage distance.
Yeah, solid, I think, is the understatement from GP Giampiero Lambi. Actually likes to play things down at the best of times.
That's why it's the thumbnail
it is a
today.
Masterclass for Max currently.
Well, what could change is they go into the compound tyres and also a safety car, something like that, or a virtual safety car. So, and also this kind of lead he's got now.
They're going to make a pit stop at Red Bull, and it might be a last-minute call, this, for Yuki Tsunoda, and they dropped the tyres as they were trying to get them out of the racks. No harm done. They'll be ready for him when he comes in. So Behrman's pit stop has now triggered Yuki Tsunoda's as well. Alonso getting closer to Gabriel Bortoleto and locking up in the process.
Yeah, an avalanche of Pirellis there all of a sudden, but I was saying out front, Verstappen with that kind of, with a 5.6 second lead, they can wait. They can afford to come in the following lap of Norris and Piastri. It buys them time and a comfort zone. That's what, as we've seen him doing so many times, haven't we, over the last few years.
So this is why Red Bull brought Yuki Tsunoda in, and why they responded straight away, and why the undercut, it can work here, but not on this case and not on this occasion. Tsunoda comes out from this pit stop still ahead of Behrman in the Haas, but Behrman with his tyres slightly more warmed up than Tsunoda is going to challenge this one, going to the chicane, and by the time under braking they get to the chicane, Ollie Behrman has made his way past Yuki Tsunoda. Very neat little move indeed for the man who won the Monza F2 feature race in 2023 and who won the sprint race here this time last year.
We've had to see the gravel Meister, I think. Yeah, and you could hear the bottom of the car, couldn't you? Crunching down the serrated. You can see the sparks That'll have made such a mess of his aerodynamics.
Yeah,
Bortoletto's pitted and Alonso's pitted too. Just keep an eye on that gravel through this, because that might pose something of a problem if anyone else goes off, and we've had quite a few going off this weekend. Right, neat pit stop from Aston Martin, 3.2 seconds.
This looks a bit slower,
That does look a bit slower. And as they come out, they look to be side by side. Let's have a look at the cars as they emerge into the sunshine, and Alonso has got ahead at the pit stop of Gabriel Bortoletto, and it was a better stop from the Aston Martin crew, as here comes the Racing Bulls just to compound Bortoletto's misery, getting in between this particular fight.
So the tyres come out of the blankets at a maximum of 70 degrees C. They need to be around 100. That's why you take a little bit of time these days to a few corners to bring them up to where you need them, which is why we saw Behrman slicing past Tsunoda as well.
Yeah, now Lawson pitted 11 laps ago to put his hard compound tyres on, and he's now got himself right in the thick of what was a battle for 7th and 8th place. So into the pit lane we go, and Fernando Alonso really aggressively attacking that.
The wise old head. He took 10, 15 metres out of him, didn't he?
Yeah.
By being less cautious, as long as he didn't break the speed limit there. So that put him in play, and that made the difference. Honestly, it made the difference that they had to hold Bortoletto there. So Bortoletto might have slammed Alonso into the Ferrari motorhome on a scooter, but he's just had a bit of payback.
Certainly has, and this is Max Verstappen, and to remind you, he is our race leader. Look, the gravel's gone off the racing line. That's good. That's what we want to see there. Verstappen nearly 6 seconds clear of Lando Norris. What a dream feeling this must be for Max Verstappen, who, of course, hasn't stood on top of the podium this season.
It was a good play.
Since Imola. That's win there, and of course in Japan, in Suzuka, where he won from pole.
As you were looking at that data, Crofty, Max was really wringing the neck of that Red Bull through the Ascari chicane. He is pushing like crazy. Ted, what can you tell us?
Back 10.
We've got to give some credit to the Aston Martin mechanics as well as that, Martin and Crofty. They did their bit. They were giving it a go. By following Bortoletto in, they knew that it was a fight between the mechanics and the Aston Martin. It wasn't a 2-second stop, wasn't a 1.9. It was actually more like a mid-2 to high 2-second. But they did it, and lots of fist bumping, and congratulations amongst them. They made it happen as much as the Sauber mechanics having to delay Bortoletto getting out of that pit box.
That is Bortoletto, Lawson, and behind him Ollie Behrman. Behind Ollie Behrman in this race currently is Yuki Tsunoda, and he is the last of the 19 runners still going. Karun, to you.
Yeah, just a line on Liam Lawson, Crofty, is in the middle of that. Obviously, he's the only car that started on the soft tyre. So Bortoletto overtaking him, that is for a net position when they all finish their pit stops. This group of cars
incredible what Max is doing. It's almost like the Suzuka drive
pitted,
last year.
and Alonso and Bortoletto should cycle back into the points. So for Ollie Behrman, he needs to try and get past Lawson here. His tyres are 9 laps fresher.
Thanks ever so much indeed, Karun. At Sky Race Control, we're on lap 23 of 53 here at Monza.
In general too, like when you look at the
very close to Liam Lawson under braking into the
crazy
chicane.
that they can be that much faster than the rest of the pack
to try and get past. I mentioned Ollie Behrman
and still be out there on the tyres that they started on.
Monza. Liam Lawson, no slouch around this track. He was on pole in F3 in 2020.
It's like the aliens in Gran Turismo,
22, and he got his first F3 sprint podium here in 2019 as well.
Going faster.
Through.
Shows a big difference.
So the Lesmo corners, they come. The two right-handers, the second Lesmo.
Between the top 3 teams and everyone else.
It must be said. Right, Gabriel Bortoletto on board with him. Down towards that first chicane. Lock-up from the Racing Bull. That's just piqued his attention a touch.
So hard
just
to get
the hear the wheel spin as they get their foot flat to the floor. And not spinning quite so much Bortoletto. Good momentum from him, and he manages to get past the Racing Bulls.
Yeah, his front wing must have been perilously close to as Antonelli takes to the runoff area. After a lock-up, as soon as your wheels stop rotating, you've halved the grip. You cannot slow down. And you're damned if you do brake harder and damned if you don't.
Yeah, correct.
You just can't make the corner.
Max Verstappen has had to put in an overtake to retake the lead of this Italian Grand Prix. We had all the hustle and bustle and kerfuffles from the opening few laps, but it's settled down now out in front. 6.3 seconds, the gap between Verstappen and Norris. Watching the gap between Russell and Hamilton continue to close down by 0.2 on the previous lap, another 0.2 on this lap. Lewis taking his time to get a bit closer to George Russell, but he's got that gap down from about 2.7 seconds in the last few laps as we cross and go on board to Alex Albon, running in the top 9 on the hard compound tyre, behind his teammate Carlos Sainz, who is under investigation, or who's been noted, I should say.
Turn 4, the racing line, short from this lap, please.
I think there's only win by him, guys. I don't agree, please.
So, what's that instruction all about?
To turn 4, keep the racing line.
So not this one.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, Fernando Alonso.
Is that a right rear puncture? It looks a bit...
It does look to be a bit low down on that right rear. Meanwhile, here comes Alex Albon, as I say, on the hard tyre compared to Sainz on the medium tyre. And I wonder if this is Alex Albon being instructed by the team that they're going to swap places here. Carlos Sainz maybe not overly happy about it.
Sainz being told, do not defend into what was there, turn 4. Keep to the racing line. Do not defend against Albon, is what they were telling him, which is pretty much the same thing as you're saying, Crofty.
Thank you. That does look like a puncture, doesn't it, for Fernando Alonso? Just look at the balance of the car as he comes in.
Suspension failure?
Possibly.
What is it going on there?
Suspension failure. This is unbelievable, man.
Oh, that is so disappointing. Ted Kravitz, he came into this weekend not expecting much, and he was having a really good race battle that he was winning with Gabriel Bortoleto.
Yeah, it's the front right. It's the front right. The mechanics are pointing at it. Fernando's so disappointed. And wow, you can go from elation for winning that position to Bortoleto to complete despair. Alonso can't wait to get out of the... Well, that's possibly... Yeah, that's, well, definitely it happening.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Alonso lifting the headrest out himself because he's just so annoyed. He can't wait to get out of the car.
It was
that is gutting. Sorry,
Ted, he was quite high up on the exit curve of Ascari, and the shock loading, the frequency, it just broke the suspension.
Scored in 6 of the last 7 Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso, and sadly for him, that's a second retirement here at Monza in the last 5 years. Carlos Sainz is now under investigation for failing to follow what the race director said in his race notes, i.e. go off the track, you've got to come on at a certain point, and he didn't do that at the second chicane. So we'll see if there's a penalty coming Carlos Sainz's way, and his teammate has scampered past him and already broken a DRS. Sainz currently scoring a couple of points. Ollie Behrman down in 16th, his nearest rival in the championship, but Behrman has already pitted, Sainz has.
And Ocon's still carrying a 5-second penalty there, isn't he? He hasn't served yet in 10.
Deserves so much better. He'd still be flying if he was in that Ferrari. So he's got a penalty
to serve. Sainz is under
Ferrari
investigation.
overall as a team
nobody's
have a
really
much better year
investigating
this
Max
year.
Verstappen much in this race because he is so far out in front. And Lando Norris was...
Considering plan A plus 15, do you think that's possible?
I think so. Yes.
Wow. So can you go 15 laps longer on your first stint, please?
So let me explain why that's happening. Those that have come in and put brand new hard compound tyres on are not going particularly well. It looks like sticking with a medium tyre and doing a very, very long stint. From the information they can gather from those at the back that have pitted, and that's why they're going to all extend and hang on to the used mediums. They seem a better tyre.
Right, interesting. That can have a bearing on how quick this race is run. And I don't know if you've got your stopwatches handy at home and if you've had your stopwatches on from the start, but we passed half race distance in 36 minutes.
Oh my God, sorry, they did traffic.
And that's crucial, because we're on pace to break the record here for the fastest race in Formula One history. Michael Schumacher winning here in 2003. He did it in an hour 14 minutes, 19.838 seconds. Charles Leclerc last year was 21 seconds slower when he won that. And if they keep up this pace, then we could, as George Russell pits, have the fastest ever Formula One Grand Prix in World Championship history. So we'll see what happens there as George Russell comes in to make his pit stop. Hard tyres going on. Not sure that was the quickest stop we've seen from Mercedes. Yeah, 2.9 seconds. So he lost about 7/10 of a second while he was stationary, and he's going to come out now behind the Racing Bulls, isn't he, of Isaac Hadjar. Hadjar running down in 11th. So Karun Chandok, let's head to you, Sky Race Control.
Thanks, Crofty. Just reflecting on that message there to Oscar Piastri. This morning, Andrea Stella made a comment that the soft tyre is holding up quite well and could be an option in the race.
I know. What are your thoughts about continuing until we can put a soft?
Yeah, I mean, we may as well continue for now. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Crofty. Andrea Stella told me this morning the soft is a raceable tyre, and I think that's what they're trying to do. Extend the medium and put the soft on at the end.
As Liam Lawson goes battling with Yuki Tsunoda, and there's contact between the two cars once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and it all ends up getting very scrappy as he moves past. Second race in a row that Liam Lawson's made contact with another car. I'd rather get the feeling that's going to be looked at. Meanwhile, as a reprimand for Carlos Sainz for rejoining the track where he shouldn't have done. Yuki Tsunoda's now got that place back, I assume. Alan Permain, the team principal down at Racing Bulls, said, you know, Liam, I think you might need to give that back yourself before the stewards make it. Antonelli is now pitting for Mercedes.
That's an interesting a reprimand. So towards the end of the race, it might be worth just banzaiing through that zone, runoff zone, gaining 2 or 3 seconds. That's a lasting advantage, of course, and have a reprimand for it.
Right, is Kimi Antonelli coming out ahead of Gabriel Bortoleto? Yes, he is. That's why Mercedes had to pit maybe 1 lap longer than it would have been an awful lot tighter as he came back out again. And important for their race that Antonelli is ahead of Gabriel Bortoleto. So that's the overcut working really well there for the Mercedes.
And the 4-second stop for Bortoleto as well, hasn't it? Sort of put him on the back foot, bit of weaving from Antonelli to generate some temperature. Look at that, that's blistering. That's blistering on the right front of Max Verstappen's car. That's a big problem. Graining's one thing, you lose grip, but that is blistering. And Pirelli will be nervous about that because you can, and so will Red Bull, because you can get, because it sort of it comes from the core of the tyre. You can
even that
have
guy
tyre
losing
issues
his life.
with blistering. I'm talking about the integrity of the tyre now.
We've got so many browsers going at once, resources.
For Kimi Antonelli,
you wouldn't expect it, but
goes over the white
when
lines
it's
one
the
more
data
time,
like that,
we'll
and you're watching the live race at the same time, like your resources go up
Lando
like
Norris
a
is 6
motherfucker,
seconds
man.
back.
Like,
Oscar Piastri 6 seconds
like
back
it's
on
just
him.
browsers.
George Russell is now the fastest man
be
on track
amazed how
on a new
quickly
set
it
of hard
climbs.
tyres. Karun at Race Control.
Yeah, Crofty, just looking at the pace though, George's tyre, as you said, new fast lap, but only
everything.
3/10 quicker than what the McLarens have done, and 4/10 quicker than Verstappen. So, you know, and they have got buffer.
Task manager,
despite the blistering,
like,
the
oh
performance
my
still
God,
seems
the amount of
okay
fucking
in those tyres for the leaders.
It certainly does. On this lap, though, Lando Norris is already about 3/10 faster
Shouldn't
than
even,
Max
go over
Verstappen,
a meg.
who, as I say that, goes and puts in the quickest final sector of a 27.1.
Oh,
and
mate,
was
he's
just over a 10th
I mean,
faster
I don't think Yuki's
than
going
Lando Norris.
anyways.
But Norris on that lap, yeah, about just under 3/10 quicker.
They're literally
that
fighting over last place, bro.
starting to just
Off the
degrade a
track.
little bit on Verstappen's Red Bull.
So
over
it's the
last
right
place.
front, wasn't it, of Verstappen that was blistering, because that gets dragged around corners.
Hadjar fucking pulling himself into the points, mate. Starting
but it gets dragged.
near last.
He ran 3 degrees of front camber
And Gasly
as well, but it's surprising to
Needs
see
some more
that
failures or
pattern
some outs.
of blistering these days.
Actually,
sorry, mate. Gaz and Colapinto, you saw 12th and 13th.
Hadjar's in because Ocon and possibly Sainz
as are those behind,
have the penalty. Ocon's is guaranteed.
Coming to get rid of his
so Hadjar's onto multiple points again.
Pit stop.
If he keeps this up,
he has to sit wait.
And Gasly could creep in there and get a point, which would be amazing. Yeah, Gasly could creep in there.
Of his marks before he can get those new tyres on. 3 seconds to stop and back out into the race.
Everything's incredibly hot when you come in. The axles, the tyres, the wheel nut. But by this stage of the season, normally those pit stops are pretty crisp all the way down the pit lane. We've seen
So McLaren want to do to like
in defence of the Williams crew there.
lap
I think
37,
Carlos had
lap
just
42,
got a fraction
something
long from his marks, where the team would ideally
meds,
love him to stop. And when you do
and
that,
then jump on the softs.
those mechanics that are trained to put the wheel gun on almost
This
before
is such
the
a
car stops
statement
moving,
from Max
just have
too,
to
man.
reach that little bit more, and it can cause a few tenths of a second loss. That'll lose your time as well, locking up. Going into the first chicane, Franco Colapinto.
Unusual to look the outside tyre going down into there.
Yeah, Colapinto hasn't stopped yet, neither is his teammate Pierre Gasly. And Gasly ahead of Colapinto, as you can see. Ted, down to you.
It's a proper good old-fashioned standoff down here, Crocky, between Red Bull and McLaren. Nobody, neither of them want to stop first. McLaren starting to think, well, you, Max Verstappen, with your no downforce, hurting your tyres, let's see how long you can go for. And that is I sense a bit of worry at Red Bull. They know that they don't want to push it. Maybe they can't push it quite as hard on the tyres as McLaren.
But it's
and I just
insane
go back,
that
Martin, to what
there's
Laurent
not like
McKee
an
said to you on the
established,
grid. What were his words
especially
about
with the new
Max
team now,
pushed us
there's
into
not
an
an established
unusual
pool
setup
of drivers
direction.
ready
Those
to
were
go,
his actual words. I wrote
and not
them
many
down.
that have the
And,
experience
with
that they might bring
T-Train
back. The
rear
only one I
wing
could
and the
genuinely
tyres
even still
starting
see getting a
just to
seat,
fade a bit.
maybe
Max has
ever
been on the
coming
radio
back,
saying the tyres are starting
it'd be
to
a
die
Mick
a little
Schumacher,
bit.
but I don't think it'd ever be at
McLaren's
Alpine.
thinking that's fine. With a bit more downforce, our tyres are just peachy.
So let's explain why it's a long pit stop. It's not
Like say if
unduly
Hulkenberg
long
retires
pit lane,
or something.
But while you're in the pit
But I
lane,
can't see that happening
everybody's
soon.
going down the pit straight at 200 miles
And
an
Nick-
hour.
yeah.
You
Nick
lose so
would be
much
the
time.
ideal
That's
replacement,
what drives it to be a
100%. How do you
one-stopper
be
to
like,
an extent.
alright. They're probably already
But
talking
also
to me, be like,
why
you can
you
hold
need
out
a
for
very
fucking
big gap lane, a
27,
25-second gap
28
to make a
will
pit
put you
stop
in that
here,
car
whereas
for sure.
traditionally it's more 2021, isn't it?
Just keep your
Just watching
super
George
license
Russell
up.
while you were giving us that explanation, Martin. And Russell,
Colapinto's got to go, Lawson's got to go.
Just, what, 4 laps to go.
Sonoda's probably going to go, and probably should, rightly so. Like he got his chance finally. He was in Racing Bulls forever. There's been many other drivers in Racing Bulls who've done better jobs than Yuki
But the
had.
hard tyre runners
And
of
Yuki's done nothing
Stroll
in
and
the Red
Ocon
Bull,
and Albon.
just like everyone
And
else
that
has
might
been put in that
just
car.
hold him up a touch. Ferrari, I think, are hoping that that's going to be the case, because then they might get a nice little
Behrman,
gap,
good
to
driver,
start
would do
thinking
better
about
in a
pit
better
stop
car.
with Lewis Hamilton and with Charles Leclerc. We'll keep an eye on that, but Ferrari telling Charles Leclerc that these laps are good. Don't worry too
Sainz
much about
deserves
George
a
Russell.
better
He's
car,
going to
but
start getting held up in the next few laps.
He should have done better in the Williams.
That's all being furiously
Albon
calculated.
does have a
of course, on the
shitload of
pit wall,
experience in
the
that car,
garage
but the
and
results
back
that he
at the
gets
team basis.
in it.
Probably 40, 50
Sainz
people
should have been
working
able to do
on
something in
that
it.
strategy, philosophy.
But are Ferrari going to
Stroll's
pit
a fucking
Charles Leclerc right
retard
now? The answer
who's
is yes, as they
only
run
results
out
so far have
into
been
the
fluking his
sunshine.
way up
Charles
the grid
Leclerc
and
makes
based
the
on
right-hand
fucking
dance
DNS.
into this pit lane on the rule. Was he too fast, I wonder, going into the pit lane?
If his daddy's serious about
as he
fucking
went
making
across
us
the
money.
line.
It's like his dad's got to decide what he wants more, whether he wants Lance Stroll to
Pit stop
be
was good, though.
a
Very
world
slick
champion,
indeed. He
or
barely
whether he
stopped
wants
moving
fucking
before he
Aston
had to
Martin
get
to be
going
world
again.
champions.
And Charles Leclerc comes out now
What's going on, Ansel?
ahead of Alex Albon, not quite, but for him, better that he comes out ahead of Esteban Ocon. Ocon hasn't pitted yet. He's got that 5-second time penalty to serve, but that's a nice little gap to bring him back out, and he can ease his tyres in nice and gently and carry on his way. So whereas George Russell was putting pressure on Charles Leclerc before the round of pit stops, and before
even
he had to drop
Antonelli's
back a bit, there's now
fucking
a big
walking a
buffer
tightrope.
between
He'll
the
still
Ferrari and
keep
the
his job,
Mercedes.
but
Yeah, because Russell's tucked
he's
up,
done
isn't he, behind
okay.
Stroll and Ocon, and it's costing
Hadjar,
dearly in
Antonelli,
terms of
Bortoletto,
position.
Behrman.
Colapinto with his pit stop.
Other rookies,
that is his first,
and fucking Lawson.
Doesn't surprise me that he came in now after that lock-up we saw a couple of laps ago. Here's
And
George
both of
Russell
them
behind
have extra
Lance Stroll.
experience
Were
besides being
Mercedes
rookies,
expecting Ferrari to cover him off?
Different
Do they just
cars,
try and do something
get him out.
a little bit different with George,
Fucking
because
Max.
overtaking and straight line speed wasn't in their favour. And this is not going to be in their favour either, and he's already having to move to the left-hand side to get out of the turbulent air of the Aston Martin.
And we know the Mercedes is probably carrying a little bit more drag than most of his tyres are a lot fresher, because Stroll's not pitted yet. But George desperately needs to clear these two cars quickly.
He certainly does. You see Lance Stroll's rear tyre there, and You wouldn't want to run too many more laps on that.
We can discuss it later.
Okay, not going to give you an answer just now, Charles. George Russell trying to get past Lance Stroll with DRS, not as easy as it might have been anticipated when he was right up behind the Aston Martin coming out of the Parabolica, and he just got that done.
I wonder if Ferrari were concerned about, again, any kind of durability with the tyre, but we'll find out hopefully after the race. They certainly don't want to tell him to hundreds of millions of people during the race.
No, quite. Here's the lockup. And I hope for his sake and for every single one of the Tifosi here, roaring Charles Leclerc on, that he was not over 80 kilometres an hour when he passed that line. No indication as yet that anything was wrong. And away goes the Ferrari. Does that sound a bit eerie when it's on the slow motion replay? Wheel spin, a few less frames per second, or a few more frames per second. Right, Russell's got another overtake to do, this one on Esteban Ocon.
And Leclerc is flying on those hard compound tyres, so the concept that the tail enders who put them on were struggling a bit. They haven't got the same level of downforce, perhaps, but a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix from Charles Leclerc. And can he get off down the road and get anywhere near the McLarens?
Here comes George Russell.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Like a little easier
like they're doing him a favour, you know. They don't want to distract him, but think of all the other times when they're like, question, plan Z, copy, answer, question.
What are your thoughts on the soft tyre?
Yeah, well, I guess the opposite of the car ahead.
Why not go aggressive, because they're not going to win the race as it stands currently, and Red Bull seems to have them covered off. But if you were Red Bull, would you take that out of the equation and go onto the soft tyre yourself, I wonder?
Depends if you think you can keep them alive, but I think what Lando's saying there is, well, you know, do different. Find it if they, let's go the opposite way, because at the moment we haven't got the pace to beat them in a straight fight, so let's try something else. It's so weird down there with the storm that took those trees away a few years ago. I'm just so used to this. First race here in 1982, but so used to that being in a shroud under a canopy of trees down there. It's really sad that all those trees are gone.
Absolutely. Slightly better for the drivers who don't kind of go light to shade as much, but I'm with you. It spoils the aesthetics
those trees
of
were
this rather glorious Royal Park on the outskirts of Milan here in Monza, northern Italy. At this time of the year, what a time of year it is to come and watch your Formula One. And for Carlos Sainz, he's gaining on Ollie Behrman. He's got a reprimand for his troubles down at the second chicane, not a penalty. So can he get an overtake done here and try and move up into 13th? He looks just a little bit too far back on this occasion. The gap out in front now 5 seconds. That was well over 6 seconds a few laps ago between Verstappen and Norris. And Verstappen is coming in to the pits. So what will McLaren do, and how will they react to whatever Red Bull do? For the time being, Norris continues on his way. Oscar Piastri, I think, is going to continue on his way. Verstappen he stops there and puts the hard compound tyre on. So they've decided they're not going to get the softs until the end of this race. We've got to go with the hards, and it's a brand new set of hards that Max Verstappen had. That's why they're all nice and shiny. And they'll come out into the sunshine in third place ahead of Lewis Hamilton. You can see the Ferrari in the distance. And for the second time this race, Lando Norris now leads.
And Norris got 6.1 seconds advantage over his teammate Piastri. So they've got a comfort zone there as well if they want to try something a little bit different against Verstappen. So this is the decision now.
It's not their weekend, but
Colapinto
goes towards their championship.
Do they keep running
back on
and
track,
try softs at the end, or do they match what Red Bull have done?
further
I guess if they
proves
match
Max
what Red Bull have
Verstappen's
done,
greatness?
they'll finish second and third.
But I'm going to watch Charles Leclerc just a touch, and to be honest, the medium
Considering
tyres
the
that
drive
the McLarens are running, Charles Leclerc on his new hard tyre was only a tenth, or just under a tenth of a second faster on the previous lap. He's not making massive inroads, shall we say, into their advantage. Ted, let's head down to you.
I was watching Verstappen stop. Yeah, good stuff by the Red Bull mechanics. Lots of fists being punched there. There was a nice, tidy stop. The tyres that came off looked about the same as we saw on the pictures earlier. I think it was just plateaued, that blistering, but it was more or less okay. Looks like Ferrari are coming out now. They're responding.
Deployment issues for Carlos Sainz and losing power, and that's not going to help him try and catch Ollie Behrman. So here's the race leader, gap of 19 seconds to Max.
God, I wish they could get rid of the fucking batteries from the hybrid shit. I get it,
Ferrari.
But I wish we could just go back to outright power delivery rather than the drivers have to rely on
the teams here. If you get out ahead of George Russell, that would be quite the achievement,
like,
even with a 2.1 second stop.
Like
but they're powering down the main straight. Goes George Russell, so he's going to come out behind him, despite extending that stint. And he's also got Ocon and he's got Stroll in between the two cars.
Just as reliant on their battery as they are.
So, would you rather be in the closing stages on a used set of softs or a?
And they will be even more so
quite
in the next
used, but set of hard combat. The soft won't last all that long. Of course, the fuel load's gone down by then, but that appears to be what McLaren are looking at. So Piastri just took 3/10 out of Norris's lead.
Here comes Kimi Antonelli around the outside of the Curva Grande. Go on, Kimi, give it some. And he has, up in the 10th place. Nice from Kimi Antonelli, and gets the move done on Pierre Gasly, who extended his contract with Alpine this week to take his association with the team through to the end of 2028. Kimi Antonelli still waiting on a contract decision for 2026, and he's up in the 10th place and back in the points. Fastest man on the track is Max Verstappen on the hard compound tyre, and he was about 0.2 faster than Lando Norris on the previous lap, about the same time as Oscar Piastri. In fact, well, sorry, about a second faster than Oscar Piastri, and 1.2 seconds faster than Lando Norris.
And when you're inside the car, it looks, because the eye and the human brain are so incredible.
Great job on the stop, guys. Sorry, I was long.
Went a bit long into his stop, into his box there, but so the human eye and brain dials some of this out. Some of it is still actually, your picture you're looking at is quite disturbed when you're driving along on a bumpy piece of track, but not quite as bad as it looks there.
Sainz getting a lot closer to Ollie Behrman.
I know people hate him
right
for so many reasons,
Pierre Gasly,
but Lewis Hamilton genuinely seems like
in that
a
first
polite
chicane. Here comes Carlos Sainz for another stab at it through the curve.
He has his
Grande. Is he going to go
frustrations
around the
and shit, but
outside? No,
even
he's
something
going
as
to
simple
try and
as
go
that,
down the
like
inside here, because Behrman
pumping up his team and then apologising for his own entry into the... Oh, here we go.
It was the outside line he was trying to take into the second chicane.
Who was that? Behrman and Sainz.
Together, they're almost left stricken in the middle of the road for a moment.
Sainz is going to be raging.
Moves past them. But that was unfortunate, and for the second race running, it's Carlos Sainz getting involved and coming
Sainz is going to be raging
with another car whilst trying to make an overtake. What did you make of that, Martin?
I'd like to see it again. I think Ollie Behrman probably should have got out of that one, but let's see it again and
didn't
see
look good.
Sainz left him. Carlos Sainz left him racing room on the inside.
We shall see. On board with Lewis Hamilton, Lance Stroll in front of him. Stroll hasn't pitted yet, neither has Ocon.
That would have 100%
currently in 7th, neither is Albon, who's running in 4th. Neither of the top two, and Hamilton.
Yeah, rookies are having a fucking cracker, mate.
Very nicely indeed, and he's up into 8th place. He's got some overtaking done today, has Lewis Hamilton.
All
up to
year, in
10th.
fact.
And here's Gabriel Bortoleto, who had a little look at Pierre Gasly on the previous lap, and second time round makes it stick.
So the slipstream in DRS is good, but if you get a good exit because you've got much better tyres off Parabolica, that really helps you straight line speed.
Especially
massively,
now
which is
with
why you're
Behrman
seeing
slipping
them
down.
Suddenly, now they're on different tyre lives, breezing past.
All right, you get to have a look at this one again.
Carlos has got it. He's got it. He's got it.
Sainz is ahead.
It's on the inside. Oh
and
yeah,
then
no.
Gets tagged by
doesn't
Behrman.
look good from there.
It's his corner.
It was his corner. But he didn't leave racing room on the inside. I think that I'm going to put that down as a racing incident.
Yeah, you just turned across in front of me like I wasn't there.
Yeah, he didn't go around.
That's a fair comment.
Yeah, which is Ollie Behrman's assessment of the situation. And he does. He turns into the corner, but Behrman has nowhere to go.
So Behrman could have backed out.
It looked like he was far enough ahead to claim that the corner's his.
Yeah.
He wasn't, but he wasn't entirely ahead. But
Right.
he certainly
ahead.
He
was ahead.
Yes, he got the right.
And he was
more than
at
claimed
the
that
speed that
his
they were
front
coming in.
axle
They
was
were both
beyond
on
Behrman's
apex
front
point.
axle, but,
Like,
he hadn't cleared him, and I think he needed to leave him a bit of space.
yeah, I think Behrman needed to back out.
Gets up into 6th place.
I think
That
he
one
needed to concede.
almost as easy as the Lance Stroll one on the previous lap, but as I say, Hamilton on fresh tyres, and the two that he's cleared have yet to stop in the race. Alex Albon has now stopped, so Hamilton will move up into to 6th place. I'm with you, Mark.
Still be able to hold on to some
racing
points.
incident-ish to me. That the trouble for both of them is it's just relegated them down, and the stewards are going to have a look at Carlos Sainz for causing a collision. There is Lando Norris, our race leader. The gap between himself and Oscar Piastri is 4 seconds. So Piastri's just closed in on his teammate the last few laps. And the gap to Max Verstappen from Lando Norris is 13.5 seconds. And Verstappen really is closing in at about a second a lap.
Yeah, Verstappen, there's no way they're going to catch him. Verstappen's catching on the halves.
You lose about 23, 24 seconds in the pit stop. If they were to pit now, the McLaren drivers would need to make up, Ted Kravitz, 10 seconds in their final stint if they're going to overtake Max.
And Max has a safety car pit stop covered as well, because it takes 14 seconds to do a pit stop under a safety car or a virtual safety car. So, yeah, I mean, had that incident between Sainz and Behrman ended up in a safety car, I mean, it would have been very close, but now Verstappen is safe to the McLarens under a safety car stop. So that's all worked out very well.
Good point, Ted. Very good point.
So they might as well bring the McLarens in?
No, I think what Seb was saying, even if McLaren had the benefit of a safety car, Verstappen would still have been leading.
So, well, do you bring them in now then? Because that safety car
looks like it. No,
he's going to stay out again. Because the safety car window is in Verstappen's favour.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming they think the tyres are still okay.
Piastri just took 6/10 out of Norris on that lap, so Norris is not enjoying this phase of his tyre life, and you can see it's wagging its tail under traction, rear tyres complaining. I think if Team Lando will be thinking, we've got to do something to actually protect second place here.
Yes, which might be what prompts Lando to come in sooner rather than later. Verstappen on the last lap, 1.6 seconds faster than Lando Norris.
And Lando's side of the garage will get first option, but if they choose not to take it, I'm sure Oscar's side of the garage can then take the high ground on the stop.
And Piastri has a big enough gap back to Charles Leclerc, who's currently running 4th. So it's not like McLaren are going to lose 2 and 3, or P2 and P3, unless something goes wrong in the pit stops, and that's why they've decided to extend these stints and try something a little bit different. They've got nothing to lose. Alex Albon on Kimi Antonelli into the first chicane. Antonelli survives on this particular occasion, but has Albon got better traction coming out of that chicane? Well, he did. And then Antonelli moved over, and I don't know if there was contact made or not, but Albon certainly got onto the grass. And now he's having a go into the second chicane. Norris powers his way over the line. Alex Albon, one of his very good friends, powers his way into 9th place.
It was an incredible recovery from the Williams down the next straight, wasn't it, having been on the grass at one point. But, so what's the gap now then? 3.7. So actually Lando's just done a personal best there. Now, if you're new to Formula One, welcome. But the reason they can't just carry on to the end,
from the moment they couldn't catch up on these tyres,
they don't need to stop the tyres. They have to by the regulation. If it's an entirely dry race, you must use 2 different tyre compounds. That is why McLaren are obliged to stop both their cars.
Back at him.
And that looked equally as close from the rear of Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes as it did riding on board with Alex Albon when we first saw it. And on those medium tyres, fresher medium tyres, he manages to get through.
And there's the traction element, and they've got the same donkeys behind them.
Lando, we will box this lap onto the soft tyre and I'll come up 1.
You do want to box the other car first?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll swap it round, so stay out.
Well, only if he doesn't undercut, otherwise I'll box first.
There will be no undercut.
Yeah, that they can control from the pit wall as they try and keep it fair. and Lando Norris does then carry on his way as Oscar Piastri comes into the pits for what we're assuming is going to be a set of soft compound tyres, and see if they can, well, give the McLaren cars a bit more pace in these closing stages that they haven't had in their battle with Max Verstappen so far.
So I can only assume Lando thinks, but pit the other one first, as long as they're not going to get in front of me. So look at that stop, 1.9 seconds. Yeah. Because he thinks the soft tyre might fade a little bit towards the end or something, because he's giving up a lap of extra grip there. But a very clear thought process going on, and that then, so it's to allow Piastri to defend then against Leclerc, isn't it? Is why they've done that. It is why Lando's been very generous on that, and I'm sure the team were talking to him about it, but that makes sure Piastri stays ahead of Charlie Leclerc.
So Kimi Antonelli's been spotted by race control and noted for forcing another driver off the track as Alex Albon got through. I'm not sure if that will be investigated much by the stewards. And our race leader is going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap, which will allow Max Verstappen to take what today has been his rightful place and out in front.
Very
much
dominant
his rightful
drive.
place. He's controlled it superbly well. Ollie Behrman has got a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision.
With Sainz.
Yeah. So the stewards didn't think it was a racing incident. They did think it was Carlos Sainz's corner.
What's
And what is going on here? Lando Norris seemed to be stationary. Well, he was by 4 more seconds than Oscar Piastri.
Oh, that's going to be difficult.
Well, that's going to be very
What was
difficult
that?
with Oscar Piastri.
What was that?
By the time he gets to the pit lane
What was
exit,
that?
The cars this way around to ensure you cover Leclerc. You are free with Lando once he's ahead of the pit exit.
Yeah, but he's not ahead at the
What
pit
was
exit.
that?
Look at that. Oscar Piastri
What was
is
that?
ahead of Lando Norris, who was stationary for 4 more seconds in the pit stop.
What was that?
How do McLaren now swap this one around? And is Oscar, well,
Front left gun we're hearing for Lando's pit stop, and we're about to see that.
might have gone a little bit long. Yeah, it wasn't tightened up properly. That was the confusion until the mechanic was told, no, come on, you've got to go and get that tightened a bit more. Oh, dear. That must have felt like 40 seconds.
Webber's.
Have we got Hungary in reverse going
Webber
on
has
now
paid that
about,
guy like
handing places
100k
back, or
straight cash,
Is
man.
that just the rub
Like
of the green
100k
as
straight
far as
cash.
the team are concerned?
Well, so this is
From
now
Mark
Oscar
Webber,
Piastri
straight to that
extending his
fucking
lead in the championship
pit, dude.
to Lando Norris.
100K.
Had a great chat with him, just sitting
Playing
in the McLaren
cold,
motorhome,
hard Euros, bro.
excuse me, in Zandvoort, when he
That
made it
doesn't
quite
happen.
clear,
Not
Oscar,
like that.
As much as he wants to
He
win
was
this
like,
World Championship, and as much as he
"Oh,
will do everything he can
oh,
to win this World
I'm
Championship,
not done.
he's not going to
Oh."
do anything to go against the team. As he says,
Bloke
"In the
slapped
future,
him on the
I
head."
will need this team, and I will need their help. So what they asked me to do, I will comply with. Hence yesterday, giving Lando Norris the toe to help him in qualifying and to get him through
Mate,
to P3.
fucking
That is one thing, Martin Brundle.
cool down room.
You've done all of the hard work, so let's just bring this home, no risk.
Do you reckon they tell Oscar? Oscar's just done
So
fastest lap
I'll
too.
put you under Oscar Piastri's crash helmet back to your racing days here.
Do you think they tell Oscar to?
Swap around? What do you do?
I think he should, because Lando would have got the 1.9 second stop, wouldn't he? But he's played the team game to help Oscar defend against Leclerc, and I think the team will feel extremely guilty about that, allowing that pit stop to happen in reverse
Oh,
positions.
he's gonna have a meltdown.
And then putting Norris behind Piastri. We'll see what they do.
I can see the.
Well,
I can't see what they say, but I can see the radio
which, by the
comments
way,
lighting
was
up. The
less than
orange
10
comments.
seconds quicker on that lap of the
He's
Max
gonna have a
Verstappen, who's got an
meltdown.
18.5 second lead. Now Lando is catching and has been catching on this lap.
But this is a bit like Hungary last year. We pitted in this order for team reasons. Please let Lando pass, and you're free to race.
I mean, we said that a slow pit stop was part of racing, so I don't really get what's changed here. But if we really want to do it, then I'll do it.
Fair play, Oscar Piastri on that one. He said his piece, he made his point, and he did what the team asked him to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, Lando played the team game. Didn't get the 1.9 second stop, but now they're free to race.
Yeah.
So at least it's put Oscar into position to have a race, which he was about 3.4 seconds behind before the pit stop phase.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's going to get spicy
after the pit stops if he does want to have a race here, and neither of the McLarens are close enough to
This is
Max
gonna get
Verstappen,
spicy.
who's been told take no risks and bring this car home, and that's pretty much what he's doing.
So it's the championship.
Thanks, Oscar. You're free to race. Clinical, clear head, mate.
And Oscar Piastri now has DRS on his teammate as well. So within all of that, at least it's put him in position to have a race with Norris, which he didn't have beforehand.
Exactly, and he's got a clear mind and a clear conscience as well, if indeed there was any doubt about that one, to go and race. He's not within a second, I don't think, going through... Oh, no, he was going through the detection zone. It was right on the fringes, so he's got that slight advantage with the DRS. And the upshot is here, Oscar Piastri has got a chance here of getting second place, and his teammate Lando Norris is under pressure. It was a very slow pit stop, and that front left wasn't the wheel nut wasn't tightened up properly enough, and this is not what Lando Norris obviously needs, especially off the back of Zandvoort when had the oil leak, the oil pipe that ruptured somewhat, and that caused him to retire from the Grand Prix. Lance Stroll finally pits, leaving Esteban Ocon as the only driver who hasn't made a pit stop in this race, and he's still got a 5-second penalty to serve when he does come in.
The McLaren wheel smiths are no faster on these tyres than Max Verstappen on his hard compound tyres, so it was worth a try because kind of why not, but they're not the answer to their problems today.
Lance Stroll has tumbled down the order.
Yeah, Norris and Piastri have swap places, Max.
Just because he had a slow start?
Well, I keeps it. It's not our business, but I guess it keeps it fair between the drivers in terms of championship. You focus on the road ahead as well, please.
The debrief has already started on the Giampiero Lambiase and Max Verstappen podcast there. I was about to say Stroll has had a really long
I fucking love him
so
18th
much now and last.
He cracks me up. He just cracks me up.
Lando Norris was
He
about
knew
3
straight
tenths
away.
faster. Used a bit of electrical
He
energy
knew
there
straight
just
away.
to boost his way to what I think should be comparative
Was it
safety
not
from
Oscar's
here on
exact
in.
reaction?
There's Max leading the Grand Prix comfortably
He-
outside, and he's working out who's had a slow
He
stop.
would know what the
or
discussions
what have
are
you.
between them,
Someone's been
and
off down there.
Big time.
Yeah.
he would be questioning it
just
too.
listening
Yeah,
to
jab,
Max
jab,
Verstappen's,
100%
comments, I wonder if he'd
jab,
have
jab.
complied,
He
in
would be
that particular
questioning
moment.
it too.
And what you just said,
Stirring the
he had a
pot.
slow stop, nothing to do with me.
Be going, well, hang on, I know that they've said this
point's
about
a
the
risk
last.
to get out there and do what I can, but we're talking about 3 points when Piastri went into the race with a 34-point championship lead.
It wasn't just a slow stop,
Ooh,
though. It was,
mate.
I agree.
The pressure
It
of
was
this
just
whole
a
thing's
slow
getting to
stop.
McLaren,
That's
like
the way
the
the
whole
cookie
team,
crumbles.
you know.
But it was playing the team game that Lando was doing. That in the end,
You can't be making those
Absolutely.
mistakes.
Max Verstappen
When to be a
started
championship team,
another
you
lap. He's
fucking
got
pick
2 laps
like
to
you
go
pick.
in this to become the first
Needs to be
driver
perfect all
to
the
win
time.
from pole at Monza since 2019.
It's been
the
one
last
of the things
5
about Red
pole
Bull
sitters
for
here
so long, has
have
been
all
their pit.
failed
It's just
to go
been
and win the
phenomenal.
race. Pole sitter today,
Every
when he
aspect
got
of it,
past
strategy,
Lando
tyres,
Norris
chain,
for the second
speed.
time, has never looked like conceding
Years and years
victory
and years of
or
dominating
anyone
it.
getting ahead of him. The battle for second, 1.5 seconds between Norris and Piastri.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc
He's pushed away
is
again.
going to take the checkered flag. 4th for Ferrari. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton completing the top 6 as it stands currently. Esteban Ocon is in the pits. So he will tumble
totally
out of
different
the points.
regime.
Alex Albon, it was 5th in Zandvoort,
Like,
is
the fact
on
that
course
it's
for a
Ron
7th
Dennis
place finish
behind
here.
both
Another great recovery
regimes.
from him. He started
Totally
14th
different.
after a disappointing qualifying.
But
Kimi
yes,
Antonelli
they
will
do.
be in the points once again. Gabriel Bortoletto and Isaac Hadjar, who started
Yeah,
in the pit
Ron
lane,
Dennis, man.
is currently holding off Carlos Sainz for the 1 remaining point in this race. And all the while I've been saying that's allowed Max Verstappen to complete another 3.6 miles, and he's now starting his final lap, Martin, as he powers towards, with another new lap record, at what will be win number 66 in his career.
bodes well for Las Vegas as well, because a very similar aero setup there. So that looks good for Red Bull. They've definitely found
Gets the fastest
a
lap
much
back
better
on
car,
hards.
haven't they, for the high-speed, low-drag circuit of Monza, and McLaren's advantages of tyre degradation and high-speed corners doesn't exist around here, but they've still managed to get a second and a third.
Kelly Piquet has come to Monza to see how her partner...
Exceptional job from Max. Fair effort, mate. Fair effort. What's going on, Neon? Yeah, they killed it. Gasly deserved points. Hadjar gets a point after starting fucking second last. Bortoletto, gun drive. Hamilton, gun drive. And Webber will be expecting that 100k back. That's a spicy meatball. Yeah. I was pretty bored, bro. I'm spewing I zoned out at the end too, because I could have won it once he made the mistake. Had I not zoned out at the end, kind of given up, I could have had that. How close it was at the end. I gave him like fucking 10 seconds. But just, once I seen that Ash wasn't going to catch up, I had to like start talking to keep myself focused. I couldn't focus on going fast anymore. Yeah, very quick, man. Very quick. Yeah, they're going to break the record. That's crazy. They can wrap up the constructors by next race. But yeah, my pedals are fucked, bro. They were like qualifying. I don't really know how much it cost me, but race pace, man, it was ridiculous. Even like at the daily this week, it's cost me about half a second a lap. Yeah, no worries. But I'm struggling. Like, car like that, a track like that, Interlagos was the same. You got brake dragging when you're trying to go around those small turns over the curb and shit. It's fucked, man. Like, car was kick flipping around doing its own thing. So yeah, I've been struggling. Been hating it. Get angry too quickly. It's too much of a distraction and too much of a fucking brick holding you back. But yeah, I've been loving Dead Island. Still going to get FIFA at the end of the month. Um, 7:30. They start quality, bro. 7:30. It'd be like exactly the same as Trans Am. God, I gotta be up at 8 a.m. I'm sure you've got to be up earlier. What am I whinging for? I do really, really like the Ferrari gear. It is, yeah. I said that before the race too, Andreas, when someone asked me what I thought the race is going to be like. I said, well, Monza typically is not, unless something happens in the race. It's like, typically it's just a procession. Yeah. Stock touring car. What's the next race, Neon? I'm very, very keen for when Nord comes up. I'll tell you what, when Nord comes up, I'll practice for it. It'll be the only race I'm really keen for. I'm spewing just don't have Daytona. I'm like, what about Bathurst? No worries, Andres. Thanks for hanging out, bro. Who's he smiling at? Brands Hatch, yeah. So it'll be another one. The brakes will be killing me. Good track for those cars, but I'll be raging at my pedals. Alright, I'm going to shut it down, guys. Watch the... Yeah, same Sparrow. I'm going to watch the rest of the post-race. Just make myself some toast before bed. I will see you tomorrow at Arvo for daily resets. I can't schedule anything during the day because we've got the plumber coming through. And then, if that's done by lunchtime, the missus and I are going to watch a new Superman movie. And then I'll get off with daily resets after that. If I can get on early enough, do some final Sardegna races, and then hopefully we can get some good dailies. And if they're shit, I'll be on Dead Island not long after that. And then from Tuesday, resuming probably Dead Island daily, especially once I've got the story done. No worries, mate. But yeah, have a good night, guys. Thanks for dropping in. Leave a like. Spread the word. Let's get this 2K. It's taken too long. But yeah, have a good night, guys. I'm done.